All right, so today we're going to look at commas used with introductory words. And so this is the rule that we use a comma after words that usually tell us where, when, why, or how. These can be phrases or clauses in the beginning of a sentence. So this first one talks about after a long introductory phrase. And so a phrase is a group of words. It's different from a clause because it doesn't have a subject and a verb, but it gives us information about where, when, why, or how. So when you look at the example here illustrating when something happened, during the hot summer of 1984, comma, the temperatures set records. So it's telling us when something happened, and that is a phrase that we use a comma after. Sometimes when you just have during 1984, a very short phrase, you don't need the comma, but it's still even better to put it in there just in case, okay, just to get the practice. Lots of times you might have that word to in the beginning of a sentence to tell you why you should do something. So to get my records, comma, I had to send a check for $3. Usually, like I said, this is answering a question, why? And so another example, to win, comma, you must practice hard or practice every day. If you put the phrase in order in front of it, like in order to win, comma, you must practice hard, that helps you to realize that's where you need to put a comma. Okay, so maybe to keep that in mind, it's telling us why. Why must you practice hard? In order to win, okay, because you want to win. All right, and then that other example is the introductory clause. So this is a little different than a phrase because it has both a subject and a verb in it. And it's answering those same questions. And really, these words that introduce it are called subordinating conjunctions. Okay, there are other kinds of conjunctions, linking words, different from the fanboys. So after you complete the film, comma, you will edit it. And if you look at that as a clause, you is the subject and complete is the verb. All right, and in the second one, wherever you go, comma, I will follow. And you is the subject, go is the verb. That's what makes it a clause. So just a couple of examples here. You have the first two that use that kind of infinitive phrase, to make or to be. And again, if you put the words in order in front of it, in order to make a successful recipe or in order to be healthy, here are the things you need to do. Numbers 3 and 4 are examples of clauses. And so when people celebrate birthdays, comma, they usually like to have cake. So the yellow words are the subjects in each clause, and the green are the verbs. And we have a comma that separates them. So there is one note here to show that you do not have to use the comma when that dependent clause comes at the end of the sentence. So hold my hand as if we were still friends, we don't need a comma. But if that sentence started with as if we were still friends, comma, hold my hand, that is, what we would need to do if we had that dependent clause in the beginning of the sentence. So even if we look back at 3 and 4 and said, they usually like to have cake when people celebrate birthdays, you would not need a comma. Or we do not take the bus because we live near school, you do not need a comma. Okay, but so we're going to focus on the phrases that have these that start the sentences, okay, introductory phrases and clauses that are followed by a comma.